Conspiracy 2 Take the Crown. What a glorious time to be alive. I've been having loads of fun drafting it, just as I'm sure many of you are as well. But, as you're drafting, you'll probably notice at least a few cards which just don't seem to fit the aesthetic of Conspiracy. A lot of people have been asking me, why does this card have Koth in its art? What's Kami of the Crescent Moon doing on Fiora? And how does the Avatar of Woe from Dominaria factor into this grand scheme of political upheaval? Well, the short answer for all those questions is nothing. In fact, and this is something many of you may learn for the first time, Conspiracy sets don't follow the same rules as you'd figure from standard sets. Only a few cards actually tell the story of what's going on in the high city of Poliano. The rest are just lore nods to stories still unfinished in MTG. The reprint of Phyrexian Arena, depicting Koth fighting the Phyrexians, a card I spoiled, doesn't mean that he and the Phyrexians have traveled to Fiora and are fighting for the crown. It's just a little, let's call it a peek, into the ongoing story of this planeswalker. It confirms that he's alive and still fighting the Phyrexians. Outside of that, Phyrexian Arena stands as a solid card to play in a draft, and that's it. The same can be said for all the reprints in Conspiracy 2 Take the Crown, which many have noted there's quite a bit of. And I'm not just talking about the commons, no, I mean like big reprints like Show and Tell, Inquisition of Kozilek, and Berserk Big. Kozilek hasn't somehow come back to life and is now consuming the plane of Fiora. It just happens to be a very draft viable card they decided to give new art. This isn't just the case for Conspiracy 2, mind you. Think back to the first Conspiracy and you'll recall just as many lore nods. Just look at the art for Route, which was also a reprint, this time of a card from Invasion. In this new art for the original Conspiracy, you'll see a familiar character from New Phyrexia, the Praetor Alish Norn. You even get some flavor text quoted to the character. Another example would be Grixis Illusionist, reprinted from Conflux. It's pretty clear that these cards don't have anything to do with the actual stories of Conspiracy or Conspiracy 2, yet we got them anyway. It's best to just take them at face value. Even though they may have new art, it doesn't mean they're involved with the story. But, you know, speaking of reprints, Conspiracy 2 does have a lot of high-value cards prized in formats like Modern, namely Serum Visions, and as I said before, Show and Tell and Berserk, along with a whole host of other less valuable reprints. It begs the question, what kind of set is Conspiracy 2 trying to be? Sure, we get reprints and sets all the time. Sometimes you just don't need to expand on some already solid cards. But Conspiracy 2 has stepped into uncharted territory, purposely targeting some notoriously expensive cards. I've even seen people making the joke that Conspiracy 2 is actually a better Modern Masters than, well, Modern Masters. Personally, I don't really mind reprints. So long as they work with the theme of the set and don't really push the price boundary, I'm cool with it. Especially if they give the card some fresh new art, to perhaps make it fit more aesthetically to the set. But in Conspiracy 2, I kinda feel like they went overboard. I know it's a supplemental set and it really doesn't matter in the end, but it still would have been nice if all the cards fit together a little better. I share this opinion with one of my followers on Twitter. When we talked about it, he brought up the fact that this feels more like a core set than Conspiracy, which I thought was a really interesting point. Core sets have recently kicked the bucket, but they were known for adding a bunch of reprints and typically not so great cards to standard, acting more as a buffer as we wait out the drought between major sets. As Conspiracy 2 comes between Eldritch Moon and Kaladesh, is it meant to be the supplemental version of the core sets? I don't think it goes that far. None of the cards are standard legal unless they have a recent printing that's already in standard, and thank God for that. But it does leave Conspiracy 2 in a really strange position. It's got a lot of valuable cards for Modern, yet does little to hold the theme of the set together. It feels like they're trying to jam a core set, a Masters set, and a new Conspiracy all into one supplemental product, trying to create something to tide us over till the start of the next block. To me, it hurts the feel of Conspiracy 2. It's hard to follow the theme and story of a set that 1/5 of the cards actually take you away from. Literally, these cards take you away from the plane of Fiora and bring you somewhere else. At the end of the day, Conspiracy 2 may have an identity crisis, but it still stands as a really enjoyable drafting experience. I can be mildly upset about the continuity and at the number of expensive reprints, but that won't stop me from having a blast with this set. My final thought is that Conspiracy 2 Take the Crown is a set with a lot of kinks which could have really used some refinement, but it's still some of the most fun you'll have while playing Magic. Anyway, I want to know what you guys think about Conspiracy 2 Take the Crown. Are there too many reprints? Do you care about the disjointed aesthetic? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and throw it a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to stay up to date on all things MTG. It all really helps to support future content. As always guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.